Hi everybody, Gisele Grenier from artplace.ca. So this is going to be another background that I'm going to create with basically a deep rich red in the middle, and I'm going to use a leafing pen to create a border on the outside. Now this is from a sheet that I prepared before, and what I did is I gessoed a piece of multimedia paper with Permalta gesso. Then I came in with ivory black paint and I smushed it everywhere, used my heat gun, and as it was drying I was taking paper towel and I was rubbing to remove some of the paint, and I got this beautiful distressed look here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some paint on there, and see, this is all paper towel from my leftover paint. I can come in here and I could even just put some of the paint right where this is removed, some red paint, and that'll actually stain the paper. You could do that if you don't want it to be too intense. So I'm going to take some alizarin crimson, whoopsie, and this time though I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm just going to do this instead of doing it with the brush. Then you may want to wear gloves while doing this because it will get messy. Getting messy is part of the process. So as we do this, we're actually just staining the paper. And because alizarin crimson is transparent, I'm going to just put a little bit more water on there. Because alizarin crimson is transparent, you're going to be able to see that distressed look through the page. Okay. All right, so that's actually kind of cool. I may actually want to put something a little bit brighter. I'm just going to dip into a little bit of cad red light right up here because there's no distress in there. Another paper towel. Make sure it overlaps. A little bit of water, not too much. Go to the outside edge because that edge I need that to be dark. There we go. And as I'm going over where the areas are distressed, if I go back over a little bit more, removes a little bit of the paint. Okay, another paper towel. Now what I can do too is I can take a spray bottle and I'm just going to put my finger under the spray bottle and splat some water on here. And I may have waited too long, but give this a few seconds. Press down where the water drops are. Hey, cool. There we go. And it removes the paint and I'm left with the black. There we go. That just kind of adds a little bit more interest to that. Oh, here's another one. Yeah, I like that. That scraped look. And I actually can just take a little bit of the paper towel and just go over this area a little bit more where it's distressed. And you'll have to make sure that you rotate your paper towel, otherwise you're just going to be putting the paint back. I would do this, if I was doing this with oils, I wouldn't be doing it on a multimedia paper, but on canvas I actually use like a Clorox wipe to do this technique. Okay, so this page here I can even leave it this way, and looking at this page now I see a beautiful high contrast floral design building up on here. If I did it this way, what I see is I see a high contrast waterfall. Okay, that's just my fine arts side of me coming into play, but you can basically do whatever you want. I let the page kind of guide me, so when I'm working on some techniques, or more likely it's my pose shots, my quick study paintings before I complete a formal painting, is I will flip through my pages to find a background that speaks to me. Now, let me just dry. Now, to use a leafing pen, you have to make sure this is dry. It's more the outside edge. You cannot use your leafing pen on a wet surface, that you'll ruin your pen. Now, the leafing pens, oh, and you don't have to use a heat gun to dry this. I do this just to save time up for video. The leafing pen is made by Krylon. Here in Canada, they range between, depending on where you buy it, they range between $5 to $8. I got mine for $6.99. And you can get different kinds, and I picked up copper, gold, and silver. So I like the gold the best because what I did is I purposely gunked up, if that's even a word, I gunked up the edge of the pen so I would get scraping. Okay, and I wouldn't really recommend you do that on purpose unless you want to do that. So I'm going to show you. Okay, I'm going to put this aside for a sec. Actually, I can turn this upside down. I'm going to show you what the copper one looks like because that one's got a perfect edge on it. Then I'm going to show you what the gold looks like. So when you get the pens, the tips are white. Okay, they're brand new. You got to shake them. Okay, then what you do is that you press it down to pump it and prime it, and that will get the pigment to actually flow to the tip of the pen. Then it's ready to go. So the copper with mine makes a perfect line. Okay, and then you cap it right away. What I did with my gold, now again, this is not something I would recommend unless you're prepared to possibly ruin your pen. I did this, okay, then I let the pen start to dry out, then I did it again, let it dry, and it built up some gunk on the edges, and what I get is my pen is all scrapey. I don't even pump it. You notice I didn't pump it? Okay, if I press really hard, I will get a perfect line. But just use light pressure and I get that nice distressed edge. Okay, so just going to make sure this is all good to go. And then on this now, what I'll do is come in here and don't start in the corner, kind of start kind of like in the middle here, and as you start, you can turn your pen a little bit. You can get different angles. But you can do this with any of the pens. But again, you'd have to be prepared to ruin your pen, or possibly ruin your pen. And for this one here, I do have another one that's perfect edged, but this one here I have strictly for this technique. And what happens if we put too much gold leafing on it? Come back with your acrylic paint and just rub. In some areas in the corner, you can put a little bit more heavy gold, okay, like that. Now the edge of this paper, because this paper is perforated, I can see the line, okay, where I could actually tear the page out, so I won't do this part, I'll just do this part here. Just on the outside edge of the perforation. Now once you paint it with acrylic, with this multimedia book. This is a Canson book. Once you paint this with ink, you'll have to cut it. You won't be able to tear it. I'm probably going off camera, so I want to get this close up. And this is a really nice economical way to add some bling to your pages. And this is where now I wouldn't do a waterfall on this now. I would actually do a high contrast floral design, or now depending on what you're, yeah, high contrast floral design, but I could also, without it being red, if I left it at black with the gold finish on it, I'm actually working on a piece now of a lioness, and the gold would be nice to kind of frame her as well. And when you're doing this with the outside edge with the gold, you can go with a much less expensive frame. I like doing framing my artwork with just black frames. That way the frame doesn't take away the interest away from the painting. A painting should be able to stand on its own. The frame shouldn't make the painting. There we go. Okay. Cap my pen. And now we have a background set for anything. Now with this particular technique, I didn't have to use red. I could have used green, and I will do another video using green instead, which could be a backdrop for foliage, for floral, or for landscape, anything. But how beautiful is that? Very textured. You can even touch it. There's a lot of texture in here, and I'm all about texture and interest. Okay, so there we go. Here's another background that you can use on a canvas or in your art journal to create some art.